Hi, and welcome to the Practical Ascension podcast. I'm your Practical Ascension guide, Tracy Goody, and welcome to this Catalyst podcast series. Recently, I have contributed to a collaborative project. It's a multimedia magazine called Catalyst. So in this 2023 issue, we focused on awakening your inner change creator. This magazine is for you if you identify as someone who is here to persevere and really create change, to connect into your soul truth and make things better. In this magazine, I am joined by 12 co-creators, all of whom are anchored in their soul truth and mission in their own way. Really, really powerful contributors. So in this series, I will be interviewing some of these fellow contributors so that you can get to know them and get a vibe for their brilliance that they bring to the world and to this project. You can get your copy of Catalyst magazine at the link in the show notes below. Today, I'm joined by Lucy Spencer. Lucy is a business consultant specializing in enhancing systems and culture and optimizing business energy. She's been working with small businesses and startups for the last 5 years, implementing these conscious business practices in every part of business. Lucy founded Conscious Business Solutions to offer a more in-depth, conscious approach to small businesses and has been developing the solution ever since. So welcome, Lucy, to the Practical Ascension podcast. I am so happy to have you here today, have a fellow contributor to Catalyst magazine with me. Today, Lucy and I are talking about conscious business. So welcome, Lucy.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yay. So this is a bit of a departure from the normal guests that I have on the show. And I'm really excited to kind of bring things down into a very grounded level, which really still works with this theme of practical ascension, of really anchoring these ascendant ways of thinking and ascendant ways of being in business. So Lucy, I would love first and foremost, conscious business. What is it? How do you define it? How can people understand that a little bit more?
It's an interesting one because it's so unknown out there, yet it really is about behaving in a way that does come naturally to people. It's all about treating people in business the way that they want to be treated, really. So it's saying bye-bye to all of the ways that we were taught back in the day was how you did business, all about profit being king, and having to, tell white lies left, right, and centre, and withhold information. All of that out the door. This is about behaving in an ethical manner. It's about creating that sustainability in your business. Always thinking about how your actions and your behaviours are going to impact people and the planet. So having that care and consideration within your business, which means that the people that work with you are going to be happy and fulfilled and love working within your business. Customers can be drawn to your business because you're operating in a way that they see is right. It's the way that they're just drawn to it. It's a way that good. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And I find I notice that in my own life too. And kind of the more conscious I get, the more aware I get, the more I do gravitate to those businesses that they feel good to buy from. You want to be supporting them. You want to be, allowing that business to expand. So that part makes sense. I'd like to hear a little bit as well about, what brought you to this subject? What brought you to this focus in your own work?
I was a project manager for many years, for at least a decade in the corporate world in London, UK. So I was at the heart of things. I was upgrading the systems in the companies. That's something that kind of has always come quite naturally to me, to want to make systems more efficient.
Yes.
Work in a better manner for the people using those systems.
Yeah.
But I was very much there in the middle of a number of teams, ensuring that they were happy and they knew the objective and they had the resources they needed to do their job well, and really helping to develop them so that they could have the best result possible in the projects we were working on. So I didn't have a HR background or anything, but I was naturally there in the midst of people
Yeah.
doing that sort of thing, just ensuring that my guys were feeling as kind of fulfilled from the role as possible. And in the background, I started doing a spot of personal development, going out there initially learning about things like nutrition. I
Yeah.
just thought, hey, I want to learn something different. I loved running at the time. How can I be a better runner? Oh, look at my diet.
Yeah.
So I started there, but then I started going into things like NLP, um, and I then came across energy tools.
Mm-hmm.
So using um, numbers and symbols and colors,
Mm-hmm.
your environment to really upgrade the way you feel and what is the situations that you find yourself in then.
Yeah.
And the person that taught me about the energy tools, she was a mentor of mine. And after a while, I gave in to her request to come and work for her. And I jumped out of the corporate world and I went to work in a startup. My God, such an eye opener. It was
Mm-hmm.
very different because I'd worked in corporate companies pretty much for my whole career. And suddenly I was in a startup. But B, it was the way she operated. It was the fact that she taught people these energy tools that I had been a student of myself.
Yeah.
And it was that desire to build a company that was going to be built in the right way, where everybody within that company were a family. We actually, for a large amount of time I worked there, lived together at times. So it
Wow.
really
Yeah.
was a kind of a strong old unit of people within that company. But it was, yeah, it was an eye opener. That was all about then how to be a conscious business. We didn't always get it right. Um,
Yeah.
I
Good
went
to know.
at it a little bit too hard for a little bit too long, and I actually
Yeah.
got burnt out as a result of it.
Yeah.
But it was really understanding that, hey, there are these tools and there are there's this leadership modality then, because conscious leadership is a thing out there that's derived from other leadership models that try and put people first,
Yes. Yeah.
and seeing that, hey, well, I've come from the corporate world, I've learned all these things. Why don't I see if I can apply them back to the corporate world?
Exactly. Oh, I love that so much. So it's like your experience with the way kind of traditionally the corporations have been run, like you said, like cash is king, like that's the number one, like that kind of old masculine paradigm where humanity kind of comes second, or if at all, right? And so kind of I think it almost feels like that natural kind of connection that you have to systems and to humans and humanity and the prioritization of that aspect naturally led you into this space. So it feels really powerful and kind of like a full circle moment, right? Where you kind of like went out, and the way I see a lot of things is like a shamanic initiation, right? You kind of like went out into like the depths of like, what a conscious business could be, but still kind of carrying those masculine paradigms with you in that burnout and all of that, which all of us who have a business have had that burnout at some point. I would say I've definitely experienced it. And then you kind of took what you learned there, and now you're cycling it back into that corporate world and into that small business world again, so that you can bring all of those like learnings and all of that evolution that you picked up on your journey into this space. Love that.
Exactly. It definitely feels like it was
Yeah.
just a natural progression. It's where I'm supposed to be. It's kind of, yeah, this is my purpose. This is
Yeah.
what I need to be going out there and telling people about. And for me, it's not just being able to help businesses, kind of business to business. There's
Mm.
also that the side of it where I'm sharing this information. I'm sharing what a conscious business is, what
Yeah.
it means for businesses out there, how effective it can be, and
Yeah.
how important therefore it is that people, leaders especially, wake up and realize that, do you know what? This
Yeah.
isn't hard. It takes some planning. It might take some money,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it will pay off.
Exactly.
Have
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
happier workplace, and you will actually eventually make more money than you would have done if you weren't putting in place these things.
Exactly. And
Which
that's,
is,
yeah, that's what it comes down to. Ultimately, like if you're in business and you know that your profit is, fairly important part of your business, ultimately this investment is going to lead you back there. Like those, again, all taking it back to energy and vibration, but that good frequency that you're putting out there by focusing on these areas and prioritizing these aspects of your business and the humanity of it and the sustainability of it, which I think we're going to kind of go over to in a second here, that ripples out. Like that is that energy that flows back to you tenfold, that you're just going to keep feeding back. Your inspiration is going to be better. Your creativity is going to be better. I would dare say that like the productivity of everybody who works for you is going to be better, and you're just going to be attracting more of that good stuff. So like, it makes sense to me, but it's funny, like, because I hadn't really thought about this subject a whole lot till I connected with you and then started looking into your work a little bit, read your article for Catalyst magazine. And I was like, right, like I hadn't really thought about it that way. And I'm going to kind of jump back and forth a little bit here since I am mentioning your article now. And so you discussed, sustainability in business. And you had brought it out because whenever I read that, I was like, oh, okay, so environmental sustainability. But then you brought in other points to it that are not environmental that I had never even thought of. So even me, who is like very connected with energy, a lot of these concepts were foreign to me. So I love that you brought that into my awareness. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's part and parcel of operating as a conscious business. There are three pillars really to a conscious business, and they're kind of universally known as the three Ps. You've got people, planet, and profit. So money still is a kind of a factor then.
Yeah.
But it's therefore about putting in place practical steps, having a plan, a sustainability plan, that's going to enable you to upgrade your business in each of these areas. And yeah, when people usually talk about sustainability, and I was there too, whenever I heard sustainability, I immediately thought, okay, that's the environmental side of things. That's about, doing more recycling, using less energy, finding ways to reduce your carbon emissions, all of those sorts of things. But there is the people side of it, how you're upgrading your relationships basically with every stakeholder in the business. So it's not just about people within your business and your employees. It's about your connection with your customers, your clients. And what are you doing to really upgrade your relationship there? How are you really over delivering? What are you doing to show that they're really important to you?
Yeah.
What about your local community? Are you putting in place things that means your local community is helped in some way by your business? Do you offer discounts, for instance, to people in your local town or local area? What are you doing that's going to really help your local, the people locally, your local economy as well, potentially? So it's those sort of factors. And then when it comes to the economic side, because that's where you're really looking at the profit side of the conscious business. But that's not just a financial thing.
Yeah.
To some degree, it's about reducing costs where you can, but it's looking at your processes, seeing where you can be more efficient, seeing where you can better use all of the resources that you have to hand, which could be your people or kind of other assets that you have within your business. It could be to do with your relationship with your supplier. Are you ensuring that you've got the best deal possible with your suppliers? Are you, again, relationships? Are you looking to really upgrade your relationship with your supplier? Because when you've got an amazing relationship with your supplier, they want to do good deals with you. They want to keep working with you.
Yeah.
So it's all this amazing kind of mix of things that you can do, which essentially, as you were saying earlier, is about upgrading the energy of your business.
It's very holistic. Like instead of just kind of like that very like linear one track, that previous way of looking at like sustainability and conscious like it's so round and it's so expansive because it is really every area of your business that it touches, so that whenever you're working and implementing and learning about conscious business and how to do this, in your own business, like it's going to drip down to everywhere in your business.
It really is. And when I talk to people, and I'm talking about my business and kind of what I do, yeah, I'm talking about how the conscious practices, they feed into both the systems and the culture, and they go hand in hand. But then we're looking at everything from governance practices and strategies in place in the business. And some of these, therefore, will look at your vision, your mission in your business. So things that really set the direction of your business, through to your code of ethics and the behaviors that you really want to kind of uphold in your business.
Yeah.
Along with the processes, and across more to the culture side of it, and the office environment. What kind of an environment you're trying to create, the way people feel, therefore, in that environment.
Yeah.
How are you using colors or sound in that location to really raise people's vibration, energy, to some extent. They can do the best work possible, as well as some of the more typical HR things like employee benefits and professional development. So how are you helping your employees to learn and grow within your business? So it really does reach all the way across the business.
Yeah, but it's like taking care, right? Yeah.
And what I've touched on in the article in Catalyst, because that was all about sustainability and how there are these three sides to it, three aspects to sustainability. And it's saying how I gave a few pointers about what it means in each of these areas, but it's really highlighting how people are drawn to a company that wants to put in place a sustainability plan. Somebody who is, for instance, looking for a new job, they will so often, especially the younger generation, they will say no to a a that has no concept of sustainability.
100%.
Where that their company really cares and shows this within what they do, even if it was less money. They just want to be doing their part, and they want to be with that company that is doing that.
I find that a lot with the younger generation as well. Is like it's more important to them for how they feel. Like they're not like, maybe our generation and the generations before that is like, okay, we'll go to the grind. Like we're just going to do it because we have to do it. And that kind of programmed mentality, they're working out of that. And they're saying, actually, no, like that's an illusion. You don't have to do this. You can do things that feel good. You can find companies. So I agree. Like I see that younger generation really reaching for companies like this. And this feels to me like really on the leading edge of like, this, like you said, conscious leadership is a thing. And it feels to me like conscious business is a thing that is really like the businesses that are aware and awake enough to be implementing this now. Like they are really leading that wave, setting the stage for other businesses, setting the stage for what is possible. And that gives the people who are looking to be employed, it gives them that option so that they say, okay, this is available out there. We don't have to just keep going with things that don't feel good, companies that feel like we don't matter and things like that. It really, it's the next evolution of business is really what it feels like.
And it really is. And that's got me kind of thinking about something that I think you'd probably more often talk about on this channel, the fact that the younger generation that's kind of being born into the world these days, they do have a higher frequency, they do have a higher energy level, right? Therefore, of course they want more from their kind of working life when they get to it. Of course they do, because like when I first saw it, I was shocked. I was like pleasantly when I first kind of read like the statistics on what Gen Z were doing, but it was such a nice thing to do. But it was like, oh my God, like really? And then like if you think about it, it's like, well, of course they're more advanced than we were.
They are, yeah. They don't take it like our generation did. Like they don't just take things for what they are. They dig deeper. And I love that. I love Gen Z. I got 3 teenagers myself right now, and I love like they're not going to accept something just because it is the way that it's been. They're like, absolutely not. Like this is going to shift, and this is going like So it's beautiful. So these conscious businesses and these practices that you make available, these teachings that you make available, the work that you do in this area is so powerful for this generation, for right now, implementing right now, for all the benefits that you've mentioned so far, but then also future generations as well. Like it's really legacy work that we're looking at what future generations are going to be able to live with, like the types of work environments that future generations will have available to them is dependent on these businesses, what they're doing now, like what you're choosing to do with your business right now. So it's exciting work.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's something where, yes, we're saying the youngsters, the people just leaving university,
Yeah.
they're the ones that get it.
Yeah.
But now it's the leaders, the managers, the owners, they need to kind of
Yes.
catch up
Yeah.
and realize that, yes, this is important. They do need to be put it into their business. It is making an impact. And we saw during COVID, that was a big game changer. And so many businesses, though, have messed it up on the back of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because they were there thinking, right, we're going through this time that we've never seen a time like this before. Where so many people were having to work from home and just not have a normal routine anymore.
Yep.
And they put in more thought about, okay, how are we going to make sure our people are okay? How can we show that support to them?
Yep.
And so they were doing extra bits and pieces, checking in with them more, making more things available, making sure their mental health was available. They were looking after their mental health. And then it got to a certain amount of time after the world opened up again, and people were like, "Right, guys,
Back
into the office. Come on, it's business as usual. That whatever that was, that blip, that's over now."
Yeah.
And you've got all the employees being like, "Hey,
yeah.
come again?" But you were asking us what we wanted to see happen in the business. You were showing us care and consideration and really kind of drawing us in more, and now you want to drop all that. So it's amazing that so many companies did that, but they did. So it's just getting that catch up, because I've spoken to people who are saying, yeah, well, I've been doing certain things with employees for 20 years, and yes, it's not working at the moment, but it worked for 20 years, so it's just a blip now. It's going to work again.
Yeah, it's not like, it's time to evolve. Like it's pretty obvious from like so many different areas of life, of government, of business, of society, that no, the way we're doing things is not working anymore. It's time to step things up. So this is really powerful. So is there any like particular steps you would, recommend to somebody that's resonating with this message, wanting to get into it a little bit deeper?
First and foremost, I think like the key about anything to do with conscious business is communication, as it is in any business. When you want to kind of be successful, communication is key. So if you are a leader or an owner of a business, and I see small businesses, I think, are the way forward. They can be much more agile and really put in place things for their people in a much easier manner. It's about engaging your employees, asking them what they want to see, and on the reverse, employees, knowing that you are in a safe environment where if they're kind of putting this in place, you can actually say what you want to see, how the direction you want to see the business going in, the products you think that the company should be working on. If you've got a problem with a client or something, like raise it with your leader. It's kind of no longer the days of kind of keeping it all in and feeling that anxiety and that pressure. It's different times now. So that is the key thing, is about opening up those channels of communication, having those regular conversations, and really allowing people to be open and honest, and therefore be able to support each other the best way possible, and drive that business forward in the way that is most natural for everybody involved.
It really is. Yeah. And that's kind of what it feels like, is the mechanical approach we were previously taking to business that is outdated now, and it's going to eventually work its way out. This is such so much more of like a natural approach to business. Like it feels like how things should grow and evolve very, very naturally. And we have to take it into conscious consideration now because it is new. But I feel like, in future generations, this will just be a normal, like a very normal thing that would happen. And this actually kind of brings me back to like you had mentioned something about how how does your business affect or benefit the community you're in, even, right? And that kind of takes me back to like whenever you're looking at like the studies they did like back ages ago in the Middle East when they had people like meditating and focusing on peace, and then like a terrorist attack and all those things dropped right down, and then they stopped, and then that came right back up. So it just shows like the conscious impact. So even like, yes, there's the actual impact in the community, but also the energetic impact in the community as well. And I feel like, of course, because, we're all connected, all businesses are connected into like this collective business energy that when you are making these shifts, yep, yes, you're improving yourself, but you're improving the collective of business as well as your community. So like your physical community, your online community, but also the collective of it. So the more you're talking about it, the more I'm seeing what an impact this work actually is creating.
Yeah, it's interesting because we are technically trying to push business forward to a way that they would have operated thousands of years ago.
Yes.
If you trace business roots back to ancient Greece, which is, I think, roughly where business would have started off, and it would have been about trading in a local community. You'd be, exchanging items with your neighbors. It wouldn't all be about money, in that wasn't always the currency that was exchanged.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So going forward, it doesn't necessarily have to be about money. It could be skills exchanges, etc., which I've been using for years. Yeah. So that's one thing. But the other thing is about when you are operating with people, when you're doing business with people who are your neighbors, you want to do the best you can by them.
Absolutely.
You want to be able to really over deliver, which is what we're talking about now. That's what you would have done for this person that you've lived next door to for the last 20 years. Of course you want to do your best for them. So that's the way we're kind of moving towards. So to us it's a new way of operating, but technically we're just erasing all that rubbish we've been taught over the last couple hundred years and going back to how it was back in the day when there was a lot more purity to business.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. Oh, I love this so much. So there is so much more that folks can learn from you. So I am definitely encourage everybody who's listening to find you online. Is there any particular places that you connect best with people, your website or any socials like that?
I'm on LinkedIn, but you can also check out the website and connect with me there, which is www.consciousbusinesssolutions.co.uk.
Awesome. And I'll put those links in the show notes below, as well as link to Catalyst Magazine, which you definitely want to check out. Lucy being one of the wonderful 13, I believe, contributors to that magazine. So Lucy, is there anything else that you want to share as we are wrapping up here today?
I would just echo what you just said there about people needing to check out Catalyst Magazine.
Yeah.
Because of the variety of the articles in there is amazing. Just the different things that you can learn, touching on intuition to what else, creative walking, to tapping into your soul in a kind of a deeper manner. It's an amazing read.
I agree. And not even read, like it's multimodality, what's the word I'm looking for here? Lots of multimedia.
You've got different sound bites throughout it, right? It's all about to some degree the images dotted throughout. Yeah. To really kind of help raise your vibrations. You're reading through it.
I agree. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Lucy, so much for joining me today. So definitely connect with Lucy, connect with and learn more about Catalyst Magazine. All of that links in the show notes below. So thank you so much, Lucy, and I will see you again.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Get more details about today's guest and get your copy of Catalyst magazine at the link in the show notes below.